What's up, guys? So in this video we're going to go ahead and go over a program called Figure Dropshipper by Reza Qorbanie, I hope is how you pronounce that name. But basically it's a dropshipping course out of Australia. It's one of the premier courses over there. It costs 3,000 Australian dollars, which is basically $2,000 US. So nothing, terrible or crazy about that price, in my opinion. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So this is the website. They push you to a free consultation, which is basically just your onboarding call where they, sell you into the actual program. Start learning, then get free one-on-one coaching, supposedly, and then start making money. Now, I've gone through their online terms and conditions. You can see I had that link highlighted for when I went through it, and I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed. It's very much it's on you, it's on you, it's on you. Not necessarily anything like that would be their fault per se. And the way that they talk about refunds and kind of their mindset behind refund policy definitely sucks. So speaking of refund policy here, they say, okay, who is not eligible for refund? So basically anyone with a lack of motivation, not having time anymore, is not a good enough reason for a refund, is not in accordance with the law set out by the federal law of the United Arab Emirates. Please make sure you can set aside at least 5 hours a week or an hour a day. This is mentioned during the onboarding call or video. Not being aware of our policies is not a valid reason to request a partial or full refund after joining the program. Just like the ignorance of the law is not a valid defense to any crime being committed, speeding over a speed limit you weren't aware of, blah, blah, blah. I think that's just a very unnecessary, kind of jerk of a line, personally. To equate asking for a refund as if, even if you don't know the refund policy, which, sure, you're looking at it now, but let's be honest. When that person's getting sold into the program, they're being sold by a sales guy. Sales guy's after commission. Do you think he's going to sit here and actually read the refund policy out to the person? Because I tell you what, anybody who is thinking about joining this program and is watching this video and sees this refund policy, they're probably backing out right now. Because this is just I just think it's jerkish, So we encourage you to please read our policies before joining and ask us any questions for clarification if you need. We reserve the right to decline refunds for students who do not meet the criteria listed below. Remember, if you do not fit the criteria, you may not be eligible for a refund. We are here to help you and our students. Please be aware of our policies before you join so you are aware of them. Who goes through the refund policies besides me? Most people will hop on your phone call, Figure Dropshipper. They'll hop on your phone call and they're likely not even going to be educated on it, but you're saying that they're going to be, screwed either way just because of their own ignorance when they're not even really being shown. If you change your mind and it's within the 72-hour of joining 6FDS, you are entitled to receive a 70% of your course payment as a partial refund. I would wager that the reason for this is because 30% of that is going to the salesperson you're on the phone with that sells you into the program. So they're not going to necessarily take away that person's commission, but they will go ahead and give the rest of their cut from, marketing or their own personal profit of it back to you, which I guess is something. Next is, 3 to 14 days, 50%, anything after 14, but within 30, 25%. After 30 days, our change our mind policy of partial refunds is no longer applicable, and you cannot use this as a way to get a partial refund. Payment plans, failing to make a sale policy for full refunds. So, yeah, it's just kind of action based at that point, right? It's just super freaking look at this. It's like, why? Like that's probably my biggest beef. Like if somebody wants a refund, just give it to them. Like what's the big deal? Like if your product is good, people will pay for it and they won't ask for a refund. If your product isn't what they were looking for, or it's not their best fit, they're going to ask for a refund. Be willing to give them that refund. Pros and cons. So, affordable price, like I said, $3,000 Australian, $2,000 US. One-on-one coaching available. Cons, I really just think that refund policy that we just went over is really disappointing. And drop shipping is actually super competitive. So, keep that in mind as well. It's not exactly easy. If you go over to his social media, you got Figure Dropshipper, 31,000. Maybe I can be 32K. Nope. But basically, pretty big on social media. If you look at the reels, lots of views here, so I think they're perfectly legit. When it comes to like following and numbers, it all makes sense. It doesn't look fake at all to me. So it's like, do I recommend it? Honestly, just on the basis of how that refund policy is, it just really rubs me the wrong way. Again, if somebody wants a refund, they should have a refund. Also, dropshipping as the business model, I don't think it's the best business model anymore. For one thing, it's super competitive. Two, you've got to worry about your own packing, shipping, all that stuff, your product research, refunds, dealing with suppliers, all that crap, ads to try to turn over inventory so that you can kind of have a machine going. Dude, there's just so many moving pieces of drop shipping that people don't understand. And they don't understand because, and not just Figure Dropshipper, but most drop shipping biz ops, they don't actually tell you what the day-to-day looks like, what all the responsibilities are. They just try to oversimplify it by saying, oh, you just go to a garage sale, pick something up, and then ship it to somebody else. Well, that's great and all, but the biggest piece is actually getting buyers, right? If you buy something at a garage sale and you post it online, guess what? It doesn't mean it's going to sell right away. Especially if it's not competitively priced. And that's the other thing. With drop shipping, you're going to run into price wars. Okay, what a price war is basically people who are so desperate for sales that they lower their price, all right? They lower their price to try and protect their profitability, and that hopefully if they lower it enough, then other people can't lower their price that low, so they get the sale. Those other people eventually go out of business, but then you're operating on such a small margin, you're not really keeping a lot of money yourself, so you'd have to sell a whole lot more product. You may not be able to. Sorry about that, guys. You may not be able to, and ultimately, it's just a race to the bottom. That's exactly what dropshipping is it's a race to the bottom. Anything with e-commerce, frankly, because everything's so competitive. Everyone's trying to sell the same successful product. Probably millions of people at this point, okay? Which kind of leads me into a good segue of what I do, which has little to no competition. All right, so what I do is this thing called local lead generation. Basically, I built this website 5 years ago with my dad, and we don't own a tree service company or anything like that, but we own this website, and we sure as heck know how to write about it. And we did such a good job that Google decided to rank us number one after just about 6 to 8 weeks of having this site live. And we've been number one ever since. And the reason why this is important is because, take away tree service. This goes for any service-based business, okay? Roofing, plumbing, towing, just general contracting, remodels, just any kind of service-based business this business model works for. So basically, somebody looks for tree service in Noblesville, lands on our website, calls this number, and then a contractor answers. Now this contractor answers the call, takes down the information, goes out, fulfills the work, gets paid. At the end of the month, he basically pays us a finder's fee. These finder's fees can be anywhere between, $500 to $2,000 or even more, depending on the niche. For example, with tree service, you're gonna kind of always be around that $500 to $1,000 mark. But with something like roofing or concrete, you're probably looking at like $2,000 minimum and probably way more after that. But it's a more competitive space. That said, let's talk about competition real quick. You see, the greatest thing about this business model is that, sure, I'm competing with other tree service companies in the space, right? But most of them don't know the first thing about ranking a website. I do. So I'm able to go in, knock them all out, and take over that top spot. Meanwhile, they're just, too busy working. I now have a majority of the calls, and I just forward them off to whoever's going to pay me, realistically. So you do that for a whole bunch of other spaces. And like worst case scenario, you're going to compete with 20 other businesses. And again, a majority of those businesses aren't even going to know the first thing about ranking a website. So you're able to go into these spots with no competition. Profit margins. Okay, with drop shipping, you're going to have inventory to pay for, which is probably going to be at least half. Then you're going to have advertising costs. You're going to have shipping, packing. You're going to have to account for refunds. So your profit margins with drop shipping, 6 to 8% at best. So you're going to have to do a whole lot of volume just to see a decent amount of money. How much? Well, probably $100,000 in revenue just to see 6 to 8 grand. Whereas with this, not to mention all the time you have to put into it. With this, $15 a month is what I pay for hosting. $15 a month is what I pay for that call tracking number. And $10 a year is what I actually pay for the domain name. So overall, my profit margin is definitely over 90% for this specific site, and a lot of my other sites as well. General profit margin, lowest I've seen personally is 80%, but generally it's 85% or higher. Now, what I will tell you is it's not an instant thing. It does take time. Like I said, this site took 6 to 8 weeks before I've had a site take 9 months to rank. It's pretty crazy. But that said, it works. I put in maybe an hour or two a day. Maybe I try to research a new area. Maybe I throw up a wireframe of a website and I just start passively working on it. But that's the cool thing about this is that these sites, the way that Google is set up, the fact that I do it organically, I don't really worry about paying for ads for any of this or managing any kind of accounts. I just build a site and I let it sit and Google does its thing with it. And then it ranks. And then I have a huge profit margin. It's pretty freaking cool. So if you guys are interested in learning more about it exactly, I would say go ahead and check out this link. I'll put it down in the description below, but it's a private invite. And basically, it'll answer every single question you could possibly have about this business model and more. So if you're interested, go ahead, check it out. It helped me out a lot. And if you found this video helpful in any kind of way, please go ahead and give me a like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.